I have thoughts about the Cincinnati Bengals.
All you.
And we've been talking about this we got a little texting group chat,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't believe it. In the words of my mother, that man needs a hug. And that was what she said when they showed Joe Burrow on the screen after Money Mac McPherson missed the field goal. Which, you know what? Everyone wants to put the blame of the loss on Ryan Rico, our rookie punter who was holding the ball. And yes, he messed up the hold. I'm not blaming him because Zac Taylor, conservative play calling, put us in a way worse position. This man right here, Zach, buddy, I have been a defender of yours for years. I have looked at you and said he is great for the locker room. I don't agree with everything he does, but you know what? I'm sure he has his reasons. And I don't know that I am completely on the fire Zac Taylor train yet. I was on Sunday for sure. But I think I'm like, in the old cartoons when there's a guy running late for the train and he's got an umbrella and he hooks the umbrella around like a piece of the caboose or something and he's flying behind the train. That guy is me. And I'm behind on the Zac Taylor train. Just because I don't get it. I don't know how. First of all, if I told you Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase's stats in that game, you would think, wow, the Bengals definitely won that game. If I told you Joe Burrow threw for 5 touchdowns, almost 400 yards, Jamar Chase had 2 touchdowns and almost 200 yards, you would think there's no way the Bengals lost that game, right?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if you were like, I thought you were just ranting. I mean, if you were asking me, yeah, I'd probably think that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Stan.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. They lost. They lost the game. And Joe Burrow threw an interception. Yes, people keep going back to that. People keep saying, well, Joe Burrow threw an interception. Okay. Lamar Jackson fumbled and gave you guys. Lamar Jackson not only fumbled, he fumbled in overtime and handed the Bengals the win. And I get you don't want to turn over the ball, but why in overtime are you not throwing it when Jamar Chase is lined up one-on-one with Nate Wiggins, who is a rookie, albeit a first-round rookie, but a rookie, who had been lined up against Jamar during the game before and Jamar had beaten? Why don't you even give them a chance? They didn't even take a shot. At least take a shot at the end zone. And throw it where, only Jamar can get it. Draw something up like that. They didn't even take a shot. They ran 3 run plays, which they said Joe checked into one of them. So fine. Okay, Joe checked in. You ran 2 run plays up the middle for 2 yards. What are you doing? And you settled for a 53-yard field goal. That's the annoying thing about Zac Taylor is he settles. Why can't we just go out there and beat the crap out of some teams? It's the NFL. These are all grown men. Why can't we just go out there and win by 40? Why is Joe Burrow is currently on pace for, I believe, just under 5,000 yards, just under 50 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions on the season. Joe is going to put up MVP numbers, and no one is going to be paying attention because this team is going to be 5-12 with a last place schedule. So here's what the Cincinnati Bengals need to do, in my opinion. They need to sit down Zac Taylor, and they need to say, look, you have the next few weeks to figure this out. Because now there is nothing holding them back from firing him. Because the Jets just fired Robert Saleh. The Bengals aren't going to be the first team to fire a head coach now. So they could sit down Zac Taylor and say, look, the Jets just did it, and we'll do it too. And you know what? I know that he's been in head coaching discussions in the past, and I've been a huge fan of his. I don't know if he's been carried by the talent or what, but Lou Anarumo, I don't know what's happened to him, but this defense is atrocious. This defense is not good. 38 points should be enough to win an NFL game. How many weeks are teams consistently putting up more than 30 points? Not a lot.
No, not a lot. No, I mean there isn't. There isn't. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say.
And I know. I'm mad. I've been thinking about this a lot. And now, you know what? And Stan, you can let me know what you think about this. There's a defensive coordinator available now named Robert Saleh, who
Do you think it's the defense? Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be the defense. I mean,
Yeah.
100% is the defense. I mean, the offense can only the offense. I feel like your team can only do so much. You know, I mean, I don't know. Your team's just your team's got a whole other situation of messes, and because I keep like I have so much to talk about with the Steelers at this point too, that like whenever like you bring up the Bengals, I'm like, dang, like that's another team out there that just has some issues that they haven't really figured out entirely yet.
I'll give them the D-line injuries, and the D-line did look better against the Ravens a little bit, but I think we're like the 31st worst defense in the league with the 5th best scoring offense. So the one like pro I'll give Zac Taylor is his side of the ball is the offensive side of the ball. So his offense is working. It's just his play calling is so stupid and so annoying. So maybe you keep Zac Taylor around. And they've said in the past the play calling is a committee. It's the quarterback coach, who I can't remember the name of right now, offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher, who used to be the quarterback coach, and then Zac Taylor, which to me would be super confusing. That seems like it would be too many cooks in the kitchen. I think Zach got to give up play calling. Just let Dan Pitcher have it, or bring in someone who can do it. Give Joe more control. Get rid of Lou Anarumo. And I hope Lou finds a job somewhere else, because I do think he can be a good coach. But at this point, the personnel that the Bengals have and the other teams in the division have figured out Lou's defense. So I just think you have to bring in something else, something fresh. And, if it doesn't get turned around by the end of this season, then Zach might have to go too. Because you cannot have your franchise quarterback saying in his interviews, this is not a championship team. We're not going to win anything like this. While the head coach is going, I still believe we can win a championship. You can't be having that. You've got Jamar and T are both complaining about the team not being aggressive enough in the locker room. Zach is losing the locker room, so something needs to change.
I have a couple of things just I wanted to throw at you.
Yeah.
So do you think that a mid-season firing will help you or hurt you? Because I think in Stan's situation with the Jets, I think that it will probably help. But I don't know entirely if firing Zac Taylor would help. But do you think that firing him like in a week or two? I mean, I know that sounds sudden, but let's say you do fire him mid-season, like right before the trade deadline. Do you think that would help the problems, or do you think that whoever the interim head coach is would lose the locker room more? Would you lose out on players?
I don't think we'd lose out on any players that we weren't going to lose out on already. Like, people might point to T, but I think we're going to lose T anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Jamar or Joe would walk. I don't think Trey would walk. Trey and Jamar need to be extended. That's another thing. You have to, in my mind, you have to bring in a coach who is similar to what Stan is saying, championship proven. So Pete Carroll would be an example.
No.
Bill Belichick. This defense needs help. We need someone who can build the defense. Both of those coaches are defensive coaches. Or, like I said, you fire Lou Anarumo, you bring in Robert Saleh, who is a fantastic defensive coordinator in San Francisco, and you let him fix the defense, make Zac Taylor give up play calling. If Dan Pitcher can't play call, you bring in an offensive coordinator who can. I mean, it's just, you cannot be doing this when you have a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, the best offensive line that quarterback has had in his career. And now I don't know what's going on. It's just pathetic and sad. And Stan, I don't know your thoughts on the Bengals. I know you said you liked Zac Taylor, but
here's what it comes down to for me, right? I mean, Zac Taylor, he got you to a Super Bowl, right? He got you to the game, and it wasn't like you guys got blown out there. You held your own that season. You were the best team in the probably one of, if not a top 2, top 3 team in the NFL. You deserve to be there, and Zac Taylor brought you there. And for that, I look back at Bengals fans every single season. I think there's at least one point in the season where there's a call for him getting fired. In fact, I think even the Super Bowl season, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the beginning of that season, wasn't there calls for Zac Taylor getting fired?
Probably.
So I think Bengals fans are a little too reactive to that. And I would say at the very least, you'd want Zac Taylor through the season. Partially because I want Pete Carroll.
Keep Pete Carroll away from Cincinnati. Keep him away from Cincinnati.
Zac Taylor, the issues with Zac Taylor are not being bad at playing at play calling, in my opinion. I think it's being too, as you said, it's not being assertive enough, right? He has all these weapons. He has to use them. If you go hunting and you never use your gun, you're not going to get a buck. So I think he has all these weapons here. Zac Taylor needs to start unleashing them. He has to start being a lot more aggressive, as you've said. So I think the issue is not so much with what Zac Taylor is doing as it is with Rob Saleh and the Jets. But I think it's more he has to do more almost. So I think if you take back, maybe you get Rob Saleh to be your defensive coordinator, but I think it really comes down to Zac Taylor just getting his play calling to be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, and I think most Bengals fans would agree with you. And another thing is that they've done that's really weird, and I don't understand, is they will start older guys long after they've shown they shouldn't be starting anymore over young guys. Like Trenton Irwin, which I like Trenton Irwin. I think he's a decent depth guy, was starting over guys like Yoshi for a while. We haven't seen anything from Jermaine Burton hardly, but every time Jermaine Burton has gotten targeted that I can think of, it's been a big play. Jordan Battle is an even bigger example. Jordan Battle had a fantastic rookie season, and now the only reason we're seeing him from Lou Anarumo side of the ball is because Dax Hill got hurt. So, I mean, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm hoping something changes, because there is no reason why we are coming into this year off of Joe's best offseason ever, during Joe's best statistical season possibly ever, and we just can't win games. I mean, we are entering this week 3.5-point favorites to the Daniel Jones led New York Giants.
I was actually going to ask about that, though, because, I mean, if you look at the schedule, though, the Giants actually haven't been that bad on paper. I mean, if you look at those final scores, I mean, the Vikings, yes, but like they've beaten or lost games within only a few points. I mean, they lost to the Commanders by 3. They beat the Giants by, 6? They lost to the Cowboys by 5, and they just beat the Seahawks without Malik Neighbors. Would you be concerned going into New York on Sunday? Because it is Sunday Night Football. Malik Neighbors will be back. You guys
I'm very concerned.
I was going to say, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, I know everyone's like quick to talk trash on the Giants, but I don't think they're that bad. I think they're bad, but I don't think they're Carolina bad. I'll put it that way. That's how I'll phrase it. I don't think they're Carolina bad.
Yeah, and say what you want about Danny Dimes, but he is playing the best football I think I've seen him play. The first game, week 1, no. But since then, he's been getting better, and he's been playing really well.
But, okay, you said, let me go back to what Chuss said first. You said Carolina bad. We almost didn't beat Carolina. We made Carolina look good. Deontay Johnson's a talented guy, but Deontay Johnson ran all over Cam Taylor-Britt.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam Taylor-Britt's had a historical fall off these last 2 weeks. I don't know what happened to him. And then, Stan, to your point, yes, the Giants have been hot. They've been doing well. But why the Bengals, if you're going to talk about the Bengals being Super Bowl contenders, they should be able to blow this Giants team out of the water. I know Malik Neighbors is super great, but you're telling me that they can't stop Devin Singletary, Wayndale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt. The only defensive player I can think of who's a huge star is Dexter Lawrence on the Giants. They should be able to beat them by 20 points.
Brian Burns.
Okay, I forgot they had Brian Burns. I'll be honest.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about Kayvon. We got the boys on the O-line now. The center and guard worry me a little bit, but the left and right tackles, we got them locked up as long as they stay healthy. Knocking on all the wood. But
you better knock on all the wood right there.
I'm knocking on all the wood. I'm just extremely frustrated with this team. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm not. There are some fans saying they're going to stop going to games until Zac Taylor's fired. I'm not, or stop watching games until Zac Taylor's fired. I'm not in on that yet. But boy, it's getting hard. It's getting rough. I just would love to see us just go out and stomp a team, I don't care who it is. If it's the Giants, so be it.